My name is Emily. Lucas's first love had a miscarriage. To care for her, he brought his first love home to spend New Year's with us. He said, "I've wronged her too much over the years. Bringing her home to care for her is my decision. I'm informing you, not asking for your opinion." He claimed the position of wife should have rightfully belonged to his first love, telling me not to act entitled after getting undeserved privileges. I nodded. "Thank you for the notice. To show gratitude, I've decided to surrender my position as Mrs. Miller to her." After signing the divorce papers, he declared with bloodshot eyes that only I could be his wife. The day Sophia returned to the country, Lucas calmly informed me, "Sophia's been mistreated overseas and now suffers from multiple illnesses. I'm bringing her home to recuperate." Back then, she left the country to spare me from becoming the family's black sheep. These past years, you've lived a life of luxury by my side, lacking nothing except my love. I've wronged her too much. Whether you accept it or not, I'm informing you, not seeking your approval. I looked up at him. His eyes held Arctic coldness with faint traces of hostility. After 4 years of marriage, he still regarded me like a potential threat. "Well, thank you for telling me." Lucas seemed momentarily startled. His lips parted but no words came. With me, he'd always been a man of few words. After he left, I applied for rural relief work. He thought my privileged life made me unfit for hardship. Before departure, I only needed to resolve this marital entanglement. For years ago, when the Miller family faced bankruptcy, Mr. Miller proposed marriage knowing I harbored feelings for Lucas. Back then, I didn't know about his first love. I didn't object. Until Lucas began starving himself in protest. I secretly visited him. His gaze held nothing but frost when he said, "I don't love you." 4 syllables that shattered my fantasy. Knowing forced relationships never thrive, I chose to release him from our engagement. This earned my parents' fury and my house arrest. My parents told me, "In our family, you can afford any mischief except tampering with marriage arrangements." On the 7th day of confinement, Lucas came. Pale-faced and tense. I, usually bold and carefree, found myself sweating nervously as I stammered, "I tried to cancel the engagement but..." "Let's get married," he interrupted. What should have been life's most significant moment sounded like he was haggling over cabbage prices. Remnants of self-preservation made me ask, "Why?" He lowered his head, anguish twisting his features. After long silence came the non-answer, "She's gone. Never coming back. My mom told me Sophia had cashed Mrs. Miller's check, blocked Lucas, and left the country." Back then, Lucas was starving in his room, barely alive. In that moment, he hated his first love. Seeing tears glistening in Lucas' eyes, even though I knew he didn't love me, I couldn't help but nod. Youthful arrogance made me believe he'd eventually see my worth. We became inseparable. We commuted together, rebuilt the Miller family business with my family's support. Our careers flourished naturally, leading to marriage. At our wedding, Lucas vowed to always cherish me, bringing gifts from business trips, visiting my parents during holidays, holding my hand in public. We appeared perfect to outsiders. Behind closed doors was a different reality. He slept in the study. Once when drunk, I helped him to bed. His bloodshot eyes whispered, "Emily." My heart leapt as I leaned closer. Suddenly he yanked my hair, slamming my head against the floor. Pain engulfed me. The usually gentle Lucas snarled, "Emily, this is all your fault. If you hadn't loved me, my father wouldn't have forced this marriage. Sophia wouldn't have pretended to take that check to break my heart. Wouldn't have gotten trapped abroad with the wrong man." His voice dripped venom. Only then did I understand his hatred. For years couldn't unlock his heart. Pain and humiliation flooded my cheeks with tears. Abruptly he released me. Sobbing into his hands, "Why did you rush into marriage? Who could ever love you like I do? Now I'm powerful enough. But you're another man's wife. You said you wouldn't ruin my happiness. But you were my happiness." The truth crashed over me. His meltdown came from his first love's wedding. As he drunkenly rambled, I fought trembling limbs, "Rest now. I'll make sober-up soup. Closing the door. Tears cascaded freely. When I returned with broth, Lucas slept deeply. Next morning, the elegant Lucas resurfaced. Noticing my bruised forehead, he fretted, "What happened? Does it hurt?" The physical pain paled against my shattered heart. I shook my head. "It doesn't hurt. I just bumped into something when getting water last night." His brow furrowed as he called our family doctor to deliver medication, personally applying the ointment to my bruise. Watching his gentle care, I almost believed last night had been a dream. He never mentioned Sophia. The sober Lucas never lost his temper with me. He only ever smiled, though the warmth never reached his eyes. Everyone said I'd hit the jackpot marrying such an even-keeled man from the Miller family. I couldn't explain this suffocating feeling of futility. Like punching cotton wool. All I could do was convince myself his first love was married now. Surely he'd come around eventually. But Sophia's marriage turned tragic. Her abusive husband eventually beat her so severely she miscarried. That's when Lucas flew out personally, paying hefty settlements to finally secure her divorce. He didn't come home that night. The next morning, I headed to the office for transition meetings when my assistant warned me Lucas had hired a new secretary. My stomach dropped before I even saw the fashionable woman approaching in designer heels. Her makeup flawless. "Hello. I'm Sophia." She beamed, glowing with vitality that mocked my sleepless pallor. "First day today. We should do lunch, my treat." She leaned closer without waiting for my response. "Something mild, okay? I love spicy food, but," her coy smile sharpened. "My husband insists I watch my stomach lately." "Husband?" We both knew exactly who she meant. "Who exactly is this husband?" I demanded. Her smile faltered. "Oh. You wouldn't know him. Then let's arrange a double date next time." My hospitality. Sophia blanched. "I should get to work." She scurried off near tears. My assistant hesitated before whispering, "Ms. Johnson. I saw her step out of Mr. Miller's car this morning. Be careful." Careful? I'd already lost this war the moment Sophia walked back into his life. Who can compete with a man's first love? I'd assumed her provocations aimed to make me doubt. But the truth cut deeper. Lucas didn't need reminders. His heart never left her. I realized I had been too naive. The moment I arrived at the office, Lucas stormed in, glaring at me angrily. "I told you Sophia just returned from abroad and isn't in good health. If you have any issues, take them up with me instead of targeting her." "Me?" Lucas proceeded with his dramatic interrogation. "I've already made you my wife. What more could you possibly want? I know you're upset about me bringing her into the company. But Sophia just came back and has no one else to turn to." His eyes blazed with fury. "She's battling depression too. Can't you cut her some slack?" So he'd already decided I was harassing Sophia. So he didn't trust me. Would my explanations even matter now? When I remained silent, his anger intensified. "You're clearly in the wrong here. Go apologize to Sophia for being petty and targeting her. She's kind-hearted enough to forgive you." I stared unblinkingly at his face, searching for any trace of remorse. Nothing. Only stern disapproval. After the initial heartache, an eerie calm settled over me. "I won't apologize. Emily." I cut him off. "If I refuse, will you fire me? Or file for divorce?" He looked momentarily stunned before his features twisted in outrage. "Emily. I never imagined you could be this narrow-minded." Disappointment dripped from his voice. "Had I known this earlier, I would've." "You can still change your mind now." His shock deepened, probably because I'd never contradicted him before. Keeping my expression icy, I stated, "Mr. Miller, please leave if there's nothing else. Your precious first love's current drama has nothing to do with me. Let's stay out of each other's way if you know what's good for you." Lucas seemed unprepared for my dismissal, slamming the door violently on his way out. The situation felt equally ridiculous and tragic. For years of marriage, his first outburst directed at me, all over his childhood sweetheart. My assistant later mentioned how Sophia had gone crying to Lucas' office. He'd comforted her for hours. To cheer her up, Lucas had his assistant book a yacht, taking her for Japanese lunch before an afternoon cruise. Corporate assistants are supposed to be discreet. The only reason mine knew? Someone clearly wanted me to hear this. Lucas always claimed he wasn't into grand gestures. My birthdays, anniversaries, a bouquet, a meal, gifts selected by his secretary. When I fell ill, he'd drop me at the hospital before rushing back to work. The difference between being loved and tolerated? It's always glaringly obvious. I sorted through my assets while preparing divorce papers and my resignation letter. The company belonged to Lucas. As department manager, I just needed to quit and take my rightful share. When I walked into Lucas's office, Sophia was nestled in his arms, their intimate posture suggesting they'd been kissing. "What's going on here?" I demanded coldly. Sophia startled like a frightened rabbit, scrambling away, pale and trembling. She stammered, I had something in my eye. Lucas was helping me." Tears welled up as she ducked her head. "I'll leave you to talk." Lucas pulled her back onto the sofa. I asked her to stay. He said protectively before glaring at me. "What do you want? Don't you owe me an explanation?" He smirked impatiently. "As you can see, we're discussing work matters. If this is about jealousy, let me clarify, I'm taking Sophia for Japanese lunch before our afternoon cruise. Care to join?" He didn't know I'd already been tipped off about his itinerary. Blinking calmly, I handed him financial reports. "Sign these if everything looks correct." Checking my watch, I added, "The sunshine disappears by 3 p.m. You'll want to finish lunch early. Coastal winds get chilly without sunlight." My gaze shifted to Sophia. Delicate constitutions catch colds easily. Lucas's jaw tightened. He scribbled his signature without reviewing the documents, slamming the folder against my chest. "Satisfied? Enjoy your outing." Back in my office, tears streamed down my face like a broken kite string when I saw the signed divorce papers. I never imagined separation could hurt this much. Each breath felt like swallowing glass. I worked until exactly 5 p.m. before boxing up my belongings. The commute home passed in a haze, though resolved to leave. Watching my husband's romantic afternoon with his first love through office windows had hollowed me out. At the convenience store, I mechanically bought congee, appetite long gone. Lucas's social media stayed quiet while Sophia flooded her feeds with sunset cruise selfies and half-eaten sushi platters. The phrase "bathing in sunlight and ocean breeze with a loved one" was brief, yet each word pierced like a dagger. Sophia had posted 5 sets of 9 grid photos. Though no full face shots existed, every angle oozed intimacy. A single outing. Yet their affectionate pictures outweighed my 4 years with Lucas. They returned as I sipped congee. Sophia feigned surprise. "Oh, you shouldn't eat that, it's not nutritious." She produced takeout containers containing sashimi, deli meats, and congealed steak. "Emily, please accept these humble offerings. I hope they meet your standards." Standards? Of course they didn't. These were literal leftovers. Every item had previously graced Sophia's social media. I dumped them straight into the trash. "Emily." Lucas's voice held warning. "Emily." Sophia's eyes welled up, trembling hands clutching her cardigan. "Don't you like them?" She knelt to retrieve the containers, murmuring, "If you refuse them, I'll feed strays. It'll rain tonight, they'll go hungry." Under warm pendant lights, her slight frame shuddered with each tear hitting the linoleum. She reassembled the scattered food with performative care. Corporate tea ceremony acts were bad enough, now she brought this drama to my home? Disgusting. I trembled, hurling the containers back into the bin. "Spare me the theatrics." Sophia clutched her sleeves, weeping. These were the finest things I could afford. "Hate me if you must. But the animals are innocent." Her Oscar-worthy performance continued until Lucas shoved past me, gathering his damsel in distress. I stumbled against the coffee table, met by his glacial stare. "That garbage you scorned was Sophia's greatest offering." He spat, She barely ate anything. Saving every bite for you. Who do you think you are? His words crystallized the truth, without the Johnson name. I meant nothing to him. The central heating roared. Yet ice flooded my veins. Lucas had such a cutting way of professing love. He seemed to have forgotten those sleepless nights I spent by his side during the initial merger of the Miller family empire. Pulling strings across the city for him. Consider this your home. Lucas murmured comfortingly to Sophia. Direct the staff as you please. There's no need to appease anyone, you're the mistress of this house too. I watched them and silently rose to leave. I was still here. Yet here he was declaring his first love as the mistress of the house. What did that make me? Whatever. Just a few more days until the paperwork finalized. Then I'd be gone. Dawn found me staring at the ceiling. When sleep finally claimed me, Lucas barged in with Sophia. Sunlight haloed his sharp features. But his gaze froze me like winter frost. Sophia had nightmares all night. This room's been blessed annually, she'll take it. I was born at midnight. A sickly child. My grandmother claimed I carried an energy that attracted spirits. Every New Year's Day since her death, I'd honored her final wish by having priests bless my bedroom. Lucas knew this. He stared with burning intensity. You've never wanted for anything. It's just 4 walls to you. 4 walls? This was our bridal suite. These walls held my hopes for love. My dreams of partnership. My faith in the man who. Never mind. You're right. I said. His hand shot out, ripping the blessed talisman from the doorframe. The wooden charm shattered against marble. Keeping dead people's junk around? Bad luck. I knelt to gather the splintered remains. What did it matter? Divorce meant leaving everything behind anyway. You're right. I repeated. My apathy ignited his temper. Sophia was meant to be my wife. That title went to you instead. You forfeited any right to jealousy the day you took her place. Then I'll return it. I responded numbly. Let's divorce. The silence echoed. In that moment, I understood true love, the kind that erases 7 years of marriage with a single glance at its intended. Are you threatening me? Now it's the Johnsons begging me not to leave. Not like when you begged us before. Yes. He'd grown powerful now. I threw everything into the trash. Broken things belong in the garbage. The same goes for those who change their hearts. It's the Johnsons begging you. Seeing my unusual compliance today, Lucas's expression softened. Let the housekeeper handle the cleaning. Move out immediately. Let's end this here. I forced a half smile. Fine. Sophia's official move-in date loomed tomorrow. Familiar decorations were disappearing from the villa. Even my lilies in the backyard had been uprooted. Replaced by roses Sophia loved. The language of roses. I love you. Every day. When we married 4 years ago, this villa stood empty. From architectural designs to garden layouts, every detail came from me. Lucas claimed he was busy. Entrusted everything to me. I mistook that for respect. Yet here he was. Skipping work to accompany Sophia to furniture stores. To flower markets. I couldn't pretend anymore. Pushing open the window, I found Sophia standing amidst rose bushes, gazing up with saccharine sweetness. Emily, what do you think of the rose varieties Lucas chose? She wore casual jeans and tee, yet sported a bridal veil. Sunlight haloed her like some blushing bride awaiting her groom. Lucas plans to fill our wedding venue with these roses, she said, voice dripping with mock sympathy. To make up for those lost 4 years. Did you get roses at your wedding? You're not exactly a first-time bride either. I replied evenly. A man of Lucas's standing marrying a divorcee? You should keep it discreet. Spare him the embarrassment. Her smile shattered. Tears welled as Lucas materialized across the garden. Venom in his glare. Emily. He spat. When I divorce you, you'll be the laughingstock second wife. Both women. Yet you show no compassion. Sophia tried convincing me last night to treat you better. She almost cancelled moving in to protect our marriage. After seeing your attitude. She moves in tomorrow morning. And you'll personally carry her boxes. Refuse. and I'll file for divorce immediately. The provocation was obvious. Sophia's doing. Yet he only saw her victim act. From my balcony perch, I met his rage with stillness. Agreed. He mistook compliance for fear. For defeat. Arm around his weeping prize, he strode away. I leaned against the balcony, silently watching them walk away. Lucas reached out first. Without hesitation, Sophia immediately clasped his hand. She rose on her toes to whisper something in Lucas's ear. Sophia glanced back at me with a challenging look. I remained impassive. Then Lucas started running hand in hand with her like some movie scene, the male lead sprinting toward happiness with his veiled bride. In this moment, I became the other woman disrupting their romance. That night, I told my parents about my decision, expecting criticism about prioritizing emotions over high society alliances. I was surprised by their support. Follow your heart, Dad said firmly while Mom tearfully hugged me. Must it be some remote mountain village? They say there's no cell service or proper food there. You've never endured hardship. Lucas echoed similar concerns when he called later. Sophia's moving in tomorrow morning. Are you hiding at Emily's to avoid this? No. Be back within the hour. Don't make me bring Sophia to collect you. His current corporate stature commanded even my father's deference. The gentleman who'd once accompanied me home had vanished. I'm leaving now, I replied. Good. He sneered. After bidding farewell, I took a taxi home. Lucas stood waiting at the entrance, storm clouds gathering on his face as I stepped out. Why aren't you driving the anniversary car? Didn't feel like it today. You haven't driven it for months. So he'd noticed. I nodded. Too weary for excuses. He blocked my path under the streetlight. Uncharacteristically vulnerable. Sophia isn't replacing you. You'll always be my wife. She'll leave after recovering. The custom Mercedes he'd gifted me sat untouched since that drunken night he'd first crossed lines. I walked past without answering, the hollow clink of our wedding rings echoing through the marble foyer. The night wind was cold, its kiss making my eyes sting. I looked at Lucas and sighed. I know. Tomorrow, I'll welcome Sophia openly. Only then did the tension in his brow ease. Every gesture of affection had left its trail. The next day, Lucas set out before dawn to pick up Sophia. I got up, hailed a taxi, and headed straight to the airport bound for the mountains. 3 hours by plane. 4 hours on a train. Then a bus transfer. 2 hours later, a van. After an hour on winding mountain roads, we reached narrow dirt paths requiring a motorcycle switch. Finally, an hour's hike brought me to the remote village where I'd teach. Deep in these scarcely populated mountains with spotty cell service and no internet, I only left weekly to call my parents from the village entrance. Every other moment was spent with the children. Poverty-stricken yet kind-hearted. They taught me to herd goats at sunset, gather wildflowers by streams, and catch minnows in crystal shallows. Time flowed swiftly. Gradually, memories of Lucas grew hazy, the ache near my left ventricle fading. Endless lonely nights waiting for unavailable hearts. Everything had scattered like wind-blown dust, distant as another lifetime. When New Year came again, my mother called. 2 years and you still haven't moved on? I paused, truthfully answering, I'm preoccupied with the mountain children. She clearly didn't believe me. He's been searching everywhere for you these years, she said gently. No ifs. I interrupted. Emily. My dad caught a hare in the hills. He wants me to bring it to you. I love bunny stew but can't cook it. I frowned. Come to my house. Mama will make it. I hurriedly ended the call. Mom, I'm going to eat bunny now. Never imagined the day when Lucas would matter less to me than a wild hare. At 10 a.m., Lucas returned with Sophia. Lucas rushed to Emily's door, desperate to explain he hadn't truly intended for her to help with the move. Those harsh words were spoken in anger. Bringing Sophia into their home was only meant to make amends for years of marriage. And he'd only ever spoken to her with icy detachment. Now consumed by regret, Lucas agonized over every cold cutting phrase that had wounded her heart again and again. The locked door drove him to the living room where only the housekeeper remained. "Where's Mrs. Miller?" he demanded, startling the maid who'd never seen him inquire about his wife's whereabouts. "She left with luggage early this morning." "Sir." His throat tightened. "Where?" "The Johnson residence." Memories flooded back, how he'd meant to ask Emily to come home yesterday, yet somehow ordered her to assist with Sophia's move instead. He'd paced anxiously by the entrance for hours, torn between pride and fear she might never return. The sight of her taxi arriving had initially eased his tension, until he noticed the dust on her abandoned car. The vehicle she'd once promised to drive everywhere now sat neglected, its disuse suddenly ominous. Last night he'd fallen into exhausted sleep, convinced his absence from today's moving plans would silently convey his apology. Now panic surged as Lucas shoved past Sophia's half-unpacked boxes in the guest room. The sterile space held only her wedding ring on the vanity, the band she'd religiously worn for 295 days. His world shattered as he careened into the garage. There sat the pristine Mercedes he'd gifted her, its untouched perfection screaming finality. Behind him, Sophia's tear-streaked face pleaded, "Lucas, don't leave me." But he accelerated past the woman crumbling on the doorstep. At the Johnson estate, Emily's parents coldly directed him to her office. A waiting assistant handed him documents bearing fresh ink. "Mr. Miller, these are your copies per Manager Johnson's instructions." The divorce papers blurred as Lucas remembered that cursed yacht trip with Sophia. Emily had approached with contracts that day, her eyes wounded. In his haste to avoid confrontation, he'd signed without reading, never imagining he was inking their farewell. He covered his face with trembling hands, tears slipping through his fingers. His mind went blank, the heart-wrenching sound of choked sobs filling the air. Only now did Lucas realize Sophia had merely been an unresolved obsession from his youth. He'd always believed his marriage to Emily was merely a business alliance, devoid of genuine affection. He'd distanced himself, convinced he felt nothing, never daring to acknowledge how their daily companionship had quietly rooted profound love in his heart. Without Emily, his world would forever remain colorless. The city skyline greeted me 4 New Years later. I hadn't wanted to return, but Mom's tearful plea, "Would you abandon the parents who raised you over some failed romance?" changed everything. At first, it was about heartbreak. Later, it became about the children I couldn't bear to leave. Mom insisted. "Other families reunite for the holidays. Must we sit alone till dawn?" Her dramatics were exaggerated, but her longing was real. My parents wept when I walked in. Dad's eyes reddened as he said, "Your happiness matters most now." These past years, Lucas hadn't harassed them. Quite the opposite, lucrative projects mysteriously found their way to Dad's firm. He stood at our door in a faded sweater and scarlet scarf, the one I'd knit during our first Christmas together. Time had hollowed his cheeks, tempering his sharp edges into still, fathomless waters. My pulse stayed steady as I noted the gifts weighing down his arms. "Business decorum," Dad murmured before answering. "Maintain appearances." I accepted the holiday package politely. "Happy New Year, Mr. Miller." "Emily." His voice cracked. "The divorce papers. I never wanted." "Lucas." My tone cut through his stumbling words. "You fought to keep our marriage intact, while moving your first love into our home." Grief shadowed his gaze. "I only meant to make amends to Sophia. I thought ours was a marriage of convenience. That I felt nothing real, until you left." Belated devotion is worthless. I turned away, exhaustion flattening my words. I could endure your indifference, believing time might soften your heart. But watching you choose Sophia over me, again and again? My throat tightened. That, I'll never accept. It's been 4 years since our divorce. The past is in the past, and assigning blame serves no purpose now. My father asked me to invite you in for tea. Business discussions are welcome. But if this is about me, please take these gifts back and don't come again. His face drained of color, lips trembling as he choked out painfully. "Emily, I came specifically to beg your forgiveness. We're strangers now. Forgiveness carries too much weight. I returned the gifts and closed the door, this threshold marking the boundary between our separate worlds. Emily and Lucas would never cross paths again. The next morning, my mother brought me milk and revealed Lucas had kept vigil under my window all night. My father tried persuading him 3 times to leave. But even the rain couldn't drive him away. Only when Sophia arrived in tears, pleading desperately, did he finally depart. On New Year's Day, I accompanied my mother to a gala. Bored by her social circle, I wandered off only to find Sophia cornered in the restroom. Pale and trembling, she endured vicious taunts from society girls mocking her as the twice-divorced woman who couldn't even become Mrs. Miller after scheming against the first wife. The cruel chorus of gold digger and worse crescendoed until someone threw a drink at her. Without Lucas's protection in these elite circles, she was defenseless. I stepped in to rescue her. Sophia glared at me with venom. Emily, my entire life's ruin is your fault. For years. And she still hadn't secured her position, yet blamed me? If you hadn't vanished, Lucas would never have realized he loved you. These years, he wouldn't have grown to resent me. I massaged my throbbing temples. I divorced to clear your path. Your failure isn't my burden. Her eyes blazed. Your calculated disappearance broke Lucas's spirit. Don't gloat, without the Johnson family name. He'd discard you like yesterday's trash too. Are the Millers the only influential family worldwide? I countered. Moreover, given Lucas's current standing, does he even need marital alliances? Could it simply be that he doesn't love you anymore? The question silenced her. Fleeting guilt crossing her features. Yet she rallied, we were each other's first love. He loves me. Then why does he still list himself as single? For years is more than enough to remarry. Truthfully, I couldn't hate Sophia. Her emergence simply revealed Lucas's unfitness as a lifelong partner. The heartbreak that once felt soul-crushing? I'd long since outgrown it. Seeing Sophia felt like staring at my past self drowning in self-delusion. Ever considered living differently? I said. At least stop treating men as your entire universe. There was nothing more to add. She remained silent as I left, wiping her tears compulsively. During the drive home, Mother mentioned several society matrons wanting to set me up. I knew this game too well. Divorced. No longer young. The accomplished ones would look down on me, while the older ones weren't to my taste. Why chase stepmother status when successful businesswomen exist? I stated bluntly. Mother got the message. When Father heard, he nearly split his face grinning, demanding I join the company next morning to learn the ropes for his early retirement. The corporate whirlwind engulfed me, echoing those years supporting Lucas's rise. Only this time, the hustle was mine. Lucas kept inventing work excuses to visit, never discussing business. Knowing material gifts wouldn't work, he switched tactics. Today chicken soup, tomorrow bento boxes, Thai cuisine the day after, Japanese omakase next. He'd somehow anticipate my cravings. Our roles had reversed. I no longer waited like an obedient wife for his dinner returns. These sporadic attentions meant nothing now. When his latest snack-bearing attempt got intercepted, my assistant received the written warning, "Shall I transfer you to Lucas's office?" Ms. Emily. I'm sorry. She stammered. Last chance, block any food deliveries. After several rejections, Lucas finally stuck to business correspondence. Yet nothing prepared me for Sophia's gaunt figure at my office door. I ushered her in from the cold, ordering coffee. I'm sorry. She wept. Without me. You and Lucas. Maybe. I handed tissues. Voice steady as lake ice. The past had drowned in its own tears. She said that after I left, Lucas never touched her again. Now he just deposits money into her account regularly, refusing to even meet her face to face. He looks at her with nothing but disgust. Though she has endless wealth, her life feels suffocating. She thinks she's sick, yet can't pinpoint the illness. I listened silently, unable to offer any comfort. Our relationship status made everything awkward. Eventually, She exhausted herself from talking and tearfully asked, Emily, if I step aside, would you choose Lucas again? I shook my head. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Her eyes widened in surprise at my apparent indifference. But she sighed in relief. Thank you for leaving him to me. I stayed quiet. She still didn't understand Lucas. He's a wolf, untamable. Ambitious. When he stops loving someone, it's permanent. I understood this. Sophia didn't. She kept believing Lucas still cared for me. A year later, Lucas announced his relationship with an heiress from a jewelry empire. Rumor has it Sophia caused a scene before the wedding, only to be thrown out by security at Lucas's command. He froze all her accounts. 3 days later, I received a package from Sophia. The note read, "You were right, he truly doesn't love me anymore. You were right, I shouldn't have made him my entire world." But I realized this too late. She'd drawn a bowing figure at the end. Apologizing, "I'm truly sorry." I wrote back, "It's never too late to wake up." But the letter found no recipient. Sophia had taken her own life. Lucas and his wife maintained a relationship of mutual exploitation. Their marriage nothing but putting on an act for appearances. At a business gala, I overheard people gossiping. I heard Lucas caught his wife cheating. Instead of apologizing, she openly declared that business marriages don't require love or loyalty, just fulfilled financial obligations. She even suggested finding women for him. He was furious. These rumors barely registered anymore. I turned to leave, only to collide with the subject of their whispers in the hallway. Lucas's eyes were bloodshot. "Emily." My phone chose that moment to ring. I stepped back, avoiding his outstretched hand as I answered. "I'll be right down." The radiant smile I couldn't suppress seemed to wound him. "Are you seeing someone?" he rasped. I lifted my left hand, sunlight glinting off the new platinum band. "I'm married now. Lucas."